You like Super Troopers? Meow.
No. Okay, but really, this is IAS, and we want to talk about our experience flying out to Maui. So we got a list of things to cover, and so we're gonna do that right now. So first on the list is our first impressions. We're gonna go down the line and just see how, what we thought about the field, how it would turn out. And so, Jordan, what were you thinking before you went to on the flight? What was your, what did you initially think was gonna happen?
Well, I took a look at the field, on Google Maps and on Facebook before it went up. It looked like my first impression was it looked like a pretty decent field. It didn't really have a lot of pictures up, so I was kind of left to imagine what the field would look like. I was kind of expecting a lot less than what we got player-wise, and I was pleasantly surprised that wasn't the case. So, but other than that, yeah, I had rather low expectations of the field.
All right, Ryan, what did you think was going to happen?
I kind of just went into this with no real perception. I just figured we were going to fly out and we're committed to, doing with whatever we got with when we got there. And the first thing that, that I saw, because I just looked over the basic field parameters. I didn't look at what the field actually looked like. And the first impression when you reach the field is it looks like it's professionally well done. Like they put a lot of time into it. And you instantly start thinking about what you want to do because you can see that there's other levels to the field, not just the ground. They've built these tree houses. You instantly start thinking about what it'd be like to play on there, and it was interesting. And first impressions of the first people that we showed up, you knew it was going to be a good and fun-filled day.
I kind of got HEP vibes. When you go into HEP and you see the big ass fort they got there.
We were also sleeping.
Yeah, but then that was the first thing I saw. It's just like there's like wooden barricades, and then for the walls, and then beyond that you can see the tree houses and stuff. It looks like one of those jungle gyms that eventually get taken down because they're too dangerous. But that's what they had those though, and so I was getting HEP vibes like, oh, this might actually be in a really good field. So then, now on the next list is our first game. Jordan, how was your first game?
I'm gonna say that the first game we played, we started off on the bus side of the field, the double-decker bus side.
Yeah, let's go over that real fast then. The way the field is laid out, when you walk into the field, it's sort of split between left and right. So Jordan, you didn't get to play with Jordan the first time, right? Oh yes.
I'm gonna go on record and say my fucking AK broke down. Damn it!
For reasons. Anyway, Jordan, you started on the bus side of the field, which is that's the
right side.
It's the right side.
Yeah, the right side.
And then they had this big ass double decker bus that you start behind, and so you don't really get to see down in the center of the field until you get around the bus. So what was you started on the right side. So how did you feel about that?
I want to say that my first game at the field, starting on the right side, was it was pretty hectic. Right off the bat, the game starts, you're moving, and there's so many things to do on the field. Like you could go up into the tree houses that Cody mentioned. You could go up into the double-decker bus, or you could go stay low and go behind all the barriers they had down there. There was so many things to do that I couldn't really decide what I wanted to do, and defaulted to hiding behind a barrier, getting to the first barrier I could find and just waiting. That's why, as you see in the video, I kind of didn't really move because I didn't know where I wanted to go. There was so many choices.
So Ryan, wait, you came in a little bit later, yeah?
Yes.
And then, so let's go over your, do you remember which side you started on?
Started on the upside.
The upside, okay.
Yeah, started on the upside. And the first thing I did, being me, because I tend to do things a little bit differently, use differently sparingly here, but yeah. Being Ryan, doing the first thing that I do is I go full retard and run up into the treehouse because we don't have that here. And from the upside, it's interesting because there are so many to me, it's hard to move to know where you want to move because there's, like Jordan said, it's kind of like sensory overload. There's a lot of things going on, and it also, you underestimate how well a lot of these things break out the human outline. Like there's a lot of mix of colors, shapes, and there's a lot of places to hide. It doesn't look like it off of the start, but when you're playing, and you're trying to face off and find out where people are, the size and the amount of concealment, not necessarily cover, but concealment, stuff that hides people, it makes it very hard to find where people are. Communication becomes more important, and you start trying to think three-dimensionally because there's height also added involved as opposed to just people being in front of you somewhere. There's so many other different dynamics that it was my first game. It was interesting. It was definitely a fun experience to play out.
Yeah. So then I had to follow. I was following Jordan with my camera since game one, and I think probably my biggest issue was with the tree houses. At first, you would think, don't go into the tree houses because you're easily gonna get shot from there. But as it turns out, we actually learned that you actually want to be in the tree houses because you have so much vision on the other side of the field. Is that it's like you'll definitely see someone before they see you, so you have the advantage. And that's sort of the impression I got when we were walking around up in the tree houses. It's kind of like Endor, yeah, fucking Ewoks.
Yeah.
And their tree cities and whatnot.
I want to add really quickly that although we kind of make the tree houses sound like they're the most overpowered thing on the field, they actually cleverly built it so one tree house doesn't have a whole dominating view of the field, because they have, like, I guess you could call them islands. They have 3 or 4 different tree houses stacked up in a line, and the backmost tree house, the closest tree house to where you start, just because you go up there doesn't mean you can see everything on the field. There's another tree house in front of you, and you can only see maybe to the 50-yard line. So the tree houses, the way they're made, it makes it balanced to the point where if you get in a tree house, you dominate. It takes a little bit of skill because there's a tree house across from you, which you can also be shot from. That if you're fast enough off the break, you can reach.
Let's also add that the field is actually built around the trees.
Yes.
And not like...
It's not, they didn't clear the field for it, they built it around the trees. I'd also like to add that this field wasn't originally built for Airsoft. It was built for the more outdoor Milsim version of paintball called Woods Ball.
Also, too, the tree houses you might worry about safety, they've actually contracted those tree houses out to the same people that build the zip lines on Maui. So when you're up there, it doesn't creak, it doesn't wobble, and you don't feel like you're about to fall through the floor cracks of one of them. They're actually very well built. Clever use of the trees, in my opinion.
Really unique, yeah. I mean, there's not really a lot of places here that give even a second story, much less several second stories.
Okay, so then let's talk about the community now. What do you think about the players who played there?
The one thing I did notice about Maui is Airsoft is still a really relatively small sport in Maui. Maui is predominantly paintball, but Airsoft is up and coming. I noticed that when you go to play up there, it's a real tight-knit group. Everybody knows everybody, everyone's friendly, and they're not only nice to each other, they're nice to even newcomers. Because we when we came in, we were shocked because it's like there are certain times where we're like, oh, so what do we do if this happens, or what do we do if that happens? And they'll tell us, hey, you know what? We'll accommodate you. We'll help you guys out. We know you guys came out here to play, and we'll help. We'll kind of work around you guys.
You can tell it's a tight-knit group because when they see someone they don't know, they go up and say hi.
Yeah, they're really friendly. Like there was an instance where we actually neglected to buy water because, as you know,
We're stupid.
As you know, yeah, we're stupid. And on top of that, you're not allowed to bring liquids onto an aircraft. So we flew out from Oahu without water, and we completely forgot to buy some on the way there. We were just so ready to get to the field that we got to the field. Cody threw his vest on, I looked at his back, and I'm like, shit, he has a hydration pack on with no water.
Lovely.
And what happened was we mentioned, hey, do you guys sell water? They didn't even have us buy it from them, they just gave it to us.
Much to our displeasure, by the way. We tried to pay for it.
We tried to pay for it, but these guys were just so friendly, so nice to us that they decided, hey, we'll help you guys out.
And it's also important to note that the friendliness extends to the staff. It was very professionally run, very well done. The staff over there were very accommodating because, as Jordan said, it's a growing ambition for airsoft out there. So, majority of the day we were throwing stuff at the Wynn to see what sticks, and everybody was able to roll and communicate quite well because the community was so tight knit that there wasn't any toes to step on really. It was just fluid, and by the end of the day, you realize how much fun you've had. Based on the amount of fact that, if you hold up your end as a nice person, they're going to hold up their end, and you're going to be welcome on that field every time you go out there. No ifs, ands, or buts.
And guess what? They take cards.
Yeah.
They swipe cards.
Mind blowing, right?
Yeah.
How many fields on the wall take cards?
Holy shit.
Actually, HEP does.
Oh, really?
They take cards.
Oh, I'm behind the times.
But
Sorry.
they're the only ones I believe. I don't think Nimbus takes cards. When Coppola was here, I don't think they. Oh, they did take cards, but
They
they're
did.
not around anymore,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. So they take cards.
They
Don't
take
freak out.
Yeah, you don't have to bring cash. They do take card.
It's a pretty nifty setup. Let's also add the barrel sleeves.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right.
We thought it was kind of weird, right? We don't normally do barrel sleeves.
It's an extra safety feature, but basically they require you to have the paintball barrel socks. If you don't have any, don't sweat it.
They give them out to you for free, and as long as it was a rental, right?
No, it's a rental. It's like $2.50.
$2.50, and we thought at first it's gonna be a big pain in the ass because you have to take it out of your dump pouch, put it on your weapon. It doesn't take that long. I mean, you can, if you get hit and you're watching your friends play when they say clear the field, it just takes no more than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
The only reason we kind of thought it was weird is because, as most of you know that play out here in Oahu, we don't require that.
Yeah.
How about the way the safety was, the debrief and all that stuff?
Oh, okay. So, the safety, see, that's the thing I noticed too. In Maui, they do stress safety, but everybody plays so, I don't want to say nicely, that doesn't seem like it's powerful enough, but the way everybody plays is, nobody does anything stupid. I didn't see anybody jump off of tree houses. I didn't see anybody, dive through bus windows or anything. They stress safety, but they really didn't need anybody to watch over us because everybody there played like an adult. There were even kids younger than us that were playing like adults. They didn't stick their gun up a corner and just hold the trigger down. And when they did the briefings, it was clear, concise. It hit all the points that I originally, playing airsoft for 4 years. Once you go hear one safety brief, you hear them all. The typical stuff: no blind firing, no jumping through barriers, all that good stuff. They actually showed how much, not really experience, but maturity and how much they did research into airsoft before they started it, because it didn't sound like a paintball briefing. Paintball briefings and airsoft safety briefings are a little bit different because of the style of gun, the rules.
Our staff was paintball though.
Yeah, our staff was, they started off in paintball, and we recently played the first airsoft game there ever played. And I'd also like to say that these few people claim the title of the first Oahu players to ever play on Maui Paintball.
Yay!
My ego has grown 3 sizes just now.
Yeah, I don't think you can see my ego. It's off the camera on this side over here.
Also, another thing to note, that the briefings were informal, but they were subject to change as the day went on. Not like that was a problem, because the changes were few and far between. Also, they were done very intuitively. It makes sense. If you're not stupid, you're not, like Jordan said, you're not going to go nose diving off a treehouse, then they make sense. And it was interesting to see, because normally you have instances out here where you have to cover everything in a briefing, and it really wasn't necessary out there. It was really cool to see. Some other things that we'd like to point out is, basically if you're planning to fly out, what do you need to do? First off, airlines wise, depending on your airline, check your airline for whatever you need to do towards declaring your firearms. I know I'll speak for Hawaiian's perspective because we flew that way. For your airsoft gun, all you need to do is make sure it's in a locked case. I stress locked, hard case. When you go to check in, go straight to customer service. The kiosk will not allow you to print restricted weapons tags. Other than that, make sure the batteries are out, the BBs are separate, the magazines are also not in the same case.
Make sure that, speaking on the batteries part, when you do transport your batteries, do not stick spare batteries in your check-ins. It is against the rules. You must stick them you must individually bag them and put them in your carry-on.
Yeah. You wrap them in plastic, right?
Ziploc bag. Yeah, I'm ghetto like that.
Yeah, as long as the reason they tell you to separate it is because I work for Hawaiian, so I was told that the reason they tell you to separate it and put it in another bag is so it doesn't touch any metal. You know.
Yeah.
That'd be bad if it would went off at 40,000 feet.
Yeah.
I was able to wrap mine in Ziploc and then sort of put it in a cardboard wrap. You didn't do that, right? Did you?
No, I just outright
Yeah,
threw
neither
that in
did
a
I.
Ziploc bag.
I mean, you can do that if you want, to keep the battery from getting crushed.
It's weird because like Ryan was carrying copious amounts of.
They thought that I was going to start my own strip club. Is basically what it was. Yeah.
That was hilarious.
I'd also like to point out that when you're traveling to the field is extremely easy to find. Like when you're driving down, what is it? The coastal highway, I guess you want to call it.
Unfortunately, I'm very terrible with Hawaiian names, so I'm going to give you the highway numbers, and you can look them up. So basically, from OGG, the airport, you're basically going to get on 380. You're going to follow 380 all the way until it hits 310. Is it either 310 or 80? But basically, once you pass the Maui Ocean Center, keep going straight, follow the coast, and it's about maybe 15 minutes down the coast. It'll be on your right-hand side. Big truck, Maui
It's not even a
Paintball.
truck, it's a bus. It's just a gigantic school bus. It says
Vehicle.
Maui Paintball on it.
The next right after that, you follow that fire road, double back, and you will find that field.
It's actually really easy to find. Like one of my biggest concerns coming was like, when I looked at the field on Google Maps, I was like, my God, this place looks like it's in the middle of effing nowhere.
It's not. It's actually right on the highway.
It's actually right on the highway.
You know what it reminded me of? Driving to Waianae, but much more pleasant.
Yeah, it's so much. It's actually easier. It's probably easier to find than HEP.
Okay, so now that we know what to do to fly there, how to find it, basically other field regulations that might be different from Hawaii. Now, I know that on their website it said 400 FPS max, and all of us with anything bigger than that were like, oh God, nothing to play with. Don't worry, they have a couple of different rules for that. Basically, if you want to go full auto, bring something 400 or less. If you're above that, you can still use it. However, you're going to be stuck on semi-auto, which the field distance, it really won't matter. If you're trying to spray at that distance, you're going to run out of ammo pretty much instantly. There's another reason for that. I think Jordan will have to explain that one though.
Are you talking about the magazine?
Yeah.
Okay, so the ruling on magazines are, on the website it says mid-caps only. But for you support gunners, don't fret. Here's why. A support gunner is classified as something like this. This is an Echo 1 RPK. And anything similar to this, a 249, a 60, a stoner,
Yeah.
anything that's meant to have a box mag because it's a support weapon, you can use it. Don't worry, you don't have to have mid-caps, any of that bullshit. This is a KWA M4. One of these with a box mag is not a support weapon. That will not be allowed.
Leave that at home.
Leave that at home.
Or bring a mid-cap.
Or bring
Bring
mid-caps.
mid-caps, right.
Because that field is mid-caps only except for support weapons. We'll just clarify that because that was a big difference, and that was one of the big bummers that we had, is that we left a lot of guns that we would have liked to have had with a field on that big at home.
Right.
So pack that, but just be ready for that change in rule and regulation.
Oh, if for some reason that you bring, let's say, Jordan, how hard does your 416 hit?
My 416 shooting about 435, 440.
Jordan's 416 is over the 400 FPS cap. That means he cannot go full auto. So you would have to shoot semi.
I would have to shoot semi all day, which honestly is not a problem to me because the way my style of play is I don't usually use full auto unless I really have to. I would usually keep it on semi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another thing I'd like to point out too, that this field requires biodegradable BBs. Like I know as someone you're gonna say all BBs are biodegradable, but they want the ones that specifically biodegrade faster than
The
the
ones
standard
that say
BBs.
biodegradable on the label,
Right.
like the one.
You don't
the
have any
ones-
of those e-bike bags?
I do have e-bike
okay.
bags, but I'm gonna have to go run off camera to go get it.
Yeah, go run out camera real
let's go.
quick. Go grab one. Anyway, you're gonna need those kind of BBs. They actually do check your BBs before you start playing, so you can't just say, "Oh, I'm just gonna hide, a bag of KSCs in my bag." No, they actually check
it's
what
not gonna
BBs you're
work.
loading. Not gonna work. Yeah, it's not gonna work at all. Let's see. What else can we say here?
We can loop around and talk about how well how great the players actually were.
Oh, that bad right there.
Biodegradable. You see these ones that look like this?
Oh, and speaking of which, shout out to, what's that guy? Akio Trade?
Akio Trade, yeah.
Akio Trade. I probably pronounced that wrong, excuse me. But
Not too bad.
shout out to him because he sells these. So if you're making a flight up to Maui and you want to play, hit him up. He has these in for a great price. He gave us 3 bags. Picking them up was painless.
Yep. He runs the business out of his house. Basically, just look up Akio Trade online, and he'll give you his address. He's in IAS. It's effortless. You go up past the IAS Community Center. It's the first left by the church, and he's the second house on your left. Can't miss it. It's got a nifty little shop in there. A lot of cool little nitbits and stuff like that you can find in there. But most importantly, biodegradables that you will need.
Excellent. So if there's anything else you want to add, we can move on to the next section.
No, I think that's pretty much for that.
Oh, I'd also like to add that, what was it? I guess it would go under safety. The one thing that really surprised me was the rule. They have a certain rule for, we were talking about the double-decker bus. If you're on the top level of the bus and you're shooting and someone is going to come to get you, instead of having a gunfight on the stairs where someone could possibly fall and hurt themselves, they actually have a rule where if the opposing player touches the bottom floor of the bus, you're automatically dead. Now I know some of you are gonna say that's stupid. Let them go to the top and fight. Yeah, but what would you say if I was sitting at the top with a, let's say 30 BB a second M4 shooting 380, and you come up the stairs and I just light you up? That rule prevents fights, and that really surprised me because I didn't even think about that. That thought didn't even cross my mind. So I really like to point out they're really strict on safety, and to me it's amazing.
Yeah.
They thought of everything.
Okay. Next section, I guess we're gonna pretty much kind of conclude this town hall style of debate, even though it's really been fun talking with these guys. First off, we'll go from left to right on this one because it's kind of pretty intuitive. The pros that you would take from that day, anything that you would like to say that was just perfect, perfect, good, anything that would make you want to come back. So we'll start with Cody.
Oh my God. I only have nice things to say about that place. I mean, compared to any of the fields here, I actually genuinely enjoyed my time at that field. As limited as it was, we only spent
4 hours.
4 hours because the field opens at 11, and then we had to dig by 4:30. I really enjoyed my time there, and but even the bathrooms were nice, yeah.
Yeah, we actually have some video of that. We'll
roll the clip
we'll have
right now. Oh, even the bathroom is nice, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so
holy shit, even the bathrooms are nice.
You were saying before we oogled over the hotel style bathroom that they have out there.
It was great though. I mean, one of the most impressive thing is we actually played on the paintball field. That wasn't actually Airsoft specific. They're actually making an Airsoft field in the works right now.
Yeah.
It's actually, from what we were told, I'm pretty sure you got some video of this, right?
Yes, I did.
It's actually going to be a town made of pallets. And the pallets will be used to make houses that have living rooms, kitchens, I think even second floors, right?
I think
he was mentioning?
They hinted at it, I think.
Yeah, so IAS will probably make another trip maybe in about 2 or 3 months, depending on what our schedule looks like and what their schedule looks like. Okay. So watch out for that.
Yep, I guess I'll roll my pros for the field out there. I was pleasantly surprised with how well that field was run. You can tell that there was a lot of growing pains, but they weren't there to ruin your day at all. The field owners were nice. Checking in was easy. The community, bar none, was one of the best that we've played with out there. I've never played with a bunch of airsofters that I would legitimately go back and say, I had no problems with anybody on that field.
Everybody called their hits.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Every time I shot someone, they called their hit.
Yeah, no instances of cheating throughout the entire day. It was priceless.
And keep in mind, we were there for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Everybody called hits in a span of 4 hours. It's crazy.
It's we got there, they said hi, we got to know almost everybody.
Everybody.
Yep. And my final.
Oh, shout out to Jason, by the way.
Yeah. That guy.
like there's only rare occasions that you meet someone for the first time and they partially fix your gun.
Yeah. Thanks, you prick. I found that video file. Anyway, my final pro is that they've got definite room for expansion out there, and they have plans for that in the works. Basically, it's 10 acres to do with whatever as they please. And basically, when we got a view of whatever's in the works, it looks like it's going to be great. Another thing too is that with their expansions, they keep the environment the way it is. There's no trees getting cut down. They may trim a few branches back here and there to for safety purposes. But basically, as we said earlier, they use the environment basically to their advantage, and it worked out quite well.
It's a pro tree hugger field.
Yeah. All right, Jordan, your pros if they're.
My pros, I mean, you could probably get all my pros and put them in a dictionary. That's how big it is. But the pros I'd like to point out is the field is just massive. The field, we were there for 4 hours. We played 6 games, and I didn't even see the whole field yet.
Keep in mind that was the paintball field. You're gonna see it in our videos, but that was just the paintball.
Just the paintball field. We played 2 full field games. We played 2 full field games, and we still didn't see the whole field.
Basically,
that's how big it is.
Yeah, I didn't actually get to cover the whole field, but you get the idea.
For those of you that played Wicked West, it's a very Wicked West-like style field. You instantly get flashbacks of Wicked West, minus the painful Kiave thorns.
What is the field? The first field we played at in Nanakuli, the one that's just like right next to the staging area.
Oh, the creek bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if you combine that with the Badlands.
That's
how big it is.
That's how big it is. It might even be bigger.
It might, it definitely is bigger.
I'd like to. Another pro is the community, man. It's not. There's not a lot of people out there. Like again, I want to give Jason the credit to this. He was the one biggest thing. He answered all my questions. I was between the time that I planned this out and we left. I was talking to him on Facebook almost every day. I was bouncing ideas off of him. Hey, when do the games start? How much does it cost? How do I get there? And he was just helpful. He didn't say I was irritating him or anything. He was a blast. Shout out to him. I also want to say that the community, when we got there, they didn't even know where we were from. They just treated us like we'd been there our whole lives, and that to me, that's amazing.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty much. I mean, I'd also like to say they pretty much covered all my pros. I mean, there's nothing else I can really say that you haven't already said.
Okay, moving on to that, because I have a feeling this is going to be very short and this might round out the video actually. Any cons that you gentlemen might have, and any final statements that you would like to make to the public?
The only thing I would say that was a con is that when walking up into the tree houses, the ramps are a little steep. So if you're wearing shoes or boots that literally have no grip on them, you might slide when going up and down that ramp. So as a suggestion to the field owner or the field builders, maybe invest in some grip tape to lay on the wood so that people have less chance of slipping when going up and down those ramps.
Or maybe you should just stop being such a baby and you want them to make their bed for you too. I want grip tape on the stairs here.
I tried to go down those things as carefully and slow as possible, but you can't help but gain speed when going down those ramps, and that just might be a little bit of a hazard.
Yeah, if you see the GoPro footage from mine, you might get motion sickness because I'm hauling down those stairs.
Step. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Ryan.
Okay. Really, they'll only have one big con of that field in general. We share it with paintball, and as you know, paintball, when they explode on cover or barriers or whatever, it stays there. And if you're gonna prone out there, you will leave with a different colored camo than what you came with.
I should have got Ryan footage of Ryan's uniform before.
I have invented a new camouflage, by the way. Thank you, Maui Paintball. It is called Permafrost Flora. It's like Russian camo flora, but the permafrost layer just underneath that. Check your local retailer; should be coming soon. Other than that, that's my only really con over there is you will get paint on you when you leave. And basically, my final statement is: if anybody says that they're an airsofter from Maui, make them feel like at home at whatever field you play with, because they definitely will extend you the same courtesy when you visit theirs.
Yeah.
My only con, I have several, but I mean, they're nothing serious. My first con is going to be the fact that the game starts so late. I mean, there's some people, like James, who can't get out of bed. It might be a con because he can wake up at 10. He can wake up at 10 o'clock and hey, let's go play airsoft. But for me, someone who was used to getting up at like 9 o'clock in the morning to go to the field to make it by 9:30, to me, I want to squeeze in as many games as I can. And it's starting at 11, ending at 5. It doesn't really give you that much of an opportunity to see the whole field. Another con I'd like to say is the same thing as Cody said. Those ramps are pretty steep. I mean, you can't really tell when you're filming, but when you're playing and you're running dead sprint right off the break to a ramp, it's a pretty good elevation change in an instant.
But at least they do warn you about that. They do warn you.
But I mean, I do agree with the grip tape because as most of you know, as the sport grows, the more people come to play, and you're gonna get those people that'll hurt themselves and then get the whole thing shut down for everybody else.
Yeah.
So I do recommend the grip tape.
Any final statement that you want to make?
The final statement I'd like to make is on behalf of IAS, we would like to say that we had a blast playing at Maui Paintball, and we will come back. I guarantee you we're coming back because I don't have anything negative to say about you guys. I mean, there's really,
aside from you two being the grip tape.
Yeah, shut up about the grip tape.
We wish that we could
at least my gun ran the whole day.
Oh.
Yeah, I want there. I want there.
Ooh, we wish that we could just steal the field and bring it somewhere here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the only.
And the community too.
Yeah, and the community.
Yeah.
I guess final statement wise, I'd just like to say that we really enjoyed playing at Maui Paintball, and we will be there again. We recommend it to every airsofter anywhere. I mean, if you're coming from California, if you're coming from Washington, if you're coming from anywhere from the East Coast, even from the West, the East Coast, even if you come from that far and you're in Maui and you play airsoft, you need to make a stop in Maui Paintball.
Just make sure you bring your own gear though, because they don't have it yet.
They don't rent gear yet.
Oh, and I just want to loop around and then sort of touch on the not seeing enough games. Remember, we were sharing a paintball field with paintballers that day, so they had to cycle us in and out. But maybe when the airsoft field gets finished, that we might get more time.
Right. Because as they mentioned, they're building a pallet town. I know that's also something from Pokemon, but I think it is something from Pokemon actually.
It is.
But they're building a pallet-made townhouses and whatnot, and farther back behind the paintball field, which is going to be airsoft only.
It is. And that field is massive.
Yeah, it's huge. It's 10 acres.
The kind of space that they have to work with is just, you can't compete with that.
And I've actually been told that they're considering vehicles. That's how big the field is.
So you can drive your.
You can drive
your to the Poke Center in Palatine.
Yeah, I can drive myself to the Poke Center and get my Squirtle healed. Yeah, never mind. I'm kidding. Anyway, that's it for me.
Yep. Other than that, I think we've covered it all. Thank you guys for tuning in to this rather lengthy, I know we've had fun filming it, interview from Team IAS. Thank you and take care.
Hey, Mau.
I wish James was here to do that. Wow. Hey, Mau.
Hey.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook to get the latest updates on IAS, Airsoft, and gaming content. Thanks for watching, and we hope you look forward to watching our next video.